I thought I was making the right choice when I remarried. My new husband, Jake, was younger than me, but he promised he would take care of both me and my daughter, Anna. I wanted to believe him. I wanted to find happiness again after losing my first husband, but after we got married, his true nature was revealed. One day, something terrible happened. Anna had an accident and was rushed to the hospital. I panicked and called Jake, begging him to come quickly. "Please, Jake, come to the hospital. Anna is hurt," I pleaded. But his response was heartless. "I'm at my mom's birthday party. I don't care about someone else's kid," he said coldly before hanging up. That moment changed everything. The next day, he lost everything. "My name is Isabella, and I'm 35 years old. I work hard at my job to support my family." My family consisted of my husband, Jake, who was 5 years younger than me, and my 7-year-old daughter, Anna. Jake and I had been married for almost 2 years. Some might wonder why the years don't match up with Anna's age. That's because Jake was not Anna's biological father. Anna was my daughter from my first marriage. My first husband was a wonderful man who loved both me and Anna deeply, but tragically, he died in a car accident. Losing him shattered me. There were moments when I felt like I couldn't go on. If not for Anna, I don't know what I would have done. My family, my parents and my older brother, supported me through my grief. Slowly, I began to heal. Then, through work, I met Jake. He was cheerful and full of energy, the complete opposite of me. One day, he confessed his feelings. "Isabella, I really like you. Will you consider dating me with marriage in mind?" he asked. I was shocked. I liked Jake, but I never imagined he would want to be with me. At first, I rejected him. He was younger than me, and I had a child. I didn't think it would work, but Jake was persistent. "I love kids. I'll be a great father to Anna. I'll make both of you happy," he promised. His determination made me think, maybe Anna needed a father figure. So, I introduced Jake to her. He played with her, carried her on his back, and made her laugh. Anna quickly grew attached to him. Seeing them together made me believe that Jake could fill the void in our lives. I decided to give him a chance. However, there was one thing that worried me: Jake's relationship with his mother. He had lost his father at a young age, and his mother had raised him alone. He often said, "I understand Anna's pain. I know what it's like to lose a father." At first, his words touched me, but there was something strange about how he acted around his mother. He was like a little boy, clinging to her side, smiling like a child. She also treated him like he was still her baby. Before we got married, I overheard his mother mumbling, "Jake could have found someone better." I tried to ignore it, thinking it wouldn't matter since we weren't living with her. I assumed Jake would prioritize our new family after marriage. I was wrong. After we got married, Jake changed. He was lazy and did nothing around the house. Even though we both worked, he left all the house chores to me. If I asked for help, he would sigh and say, "I'm tired. Isn't housework the wife's job?" Anna, despite being a child, helped out more than Jake did, but what hurt the most was how he treated her. At first, he played with her, but after the wedding, he lost interest. Whenever Anna asked him to play, he would say, "I'm busy," while sitting in front of his computer, gambling on boat races. He wasted his money on games, gambling, and alcohol, leaving little for household expenses. I had to save money on my own for Anna's future because I knew I couldn't rely on him. Jake was also incredibly picky about food. He refused to eat vegetables and only wanted meat and fish. Even if I chopped vegetables into tiny pieces and mixed them into meals, he would push them aside. Anna needed a balanced diet, but Jake threw tantrums if I didn't cook what he liked. Whenever we argued about food or money, Jake would run to his mother's house. A few hours later, his mother would call me. "Jake prefers my cooking," she'd say. "You should cook the way I do. Meat is important for a man's health." It was clear, his mother had spoiled him his entire life. He had never learned responsibility. I started to think about divorce, but I hesitated. I had already remarried once. I wanted to make it work. Then, one day, the worst happened. Anna had recently started attending piano lessons. She loved music and was always excited to go to class. But that day, I was busy with urgent work and running errands. I didn't have a car, so I usually walked Anna to class, but we were running late, so I asked Jake to drive her. Jake frowned. "No, I don't want to. It's a hassle. Missing one class won't hurt her. Just make up some excuse," he said. It's not just about missing one class. If it's too much trouble, let me borrow the car. I'll bring it right back, I pleaded. No way, what if you scratch it? I bought that car with my money. Besides, today's my mom's birthday. He refused to help. Frustrated, I was about to figure out another plan when Anna spoke up. It's okay, Mom, I'll run there, please don't fight. Before I could stop her, she was out the door. A few minutes later, my phone rang. It was the police. Anna had been hit by a car while crossing the street. I rushed to the hospital, my heart pounding with fear. When I arrived, I saw my little girl lying on a stretcher, unconscious. Anna, stay with me, I cried, holding her hand. I called Jake over and over. When he finally answered, his voice was annoyed. Why are you calling me so much? He snapped. Anna was in an accident. She's in the hospital. Please come, I begged. But his response was cold. Are you kidding me? I'm at my mom's birthday party. I don't care about someone else's kid. Handle it yourself. He hung up. I stood there in shock, but then, I realized, I had left my phone on speaker. My parents and brother had heard everything. Their faces turned dark with anger. You need to divorce him, my brother said firmly. I had already made up my mind. Thankfully, Anna survived. The next day, when Jake came home, he found my entire family waiting for him. I handed him divorce papers. Sign them, we're done. Jake turned pale. My brother, his boss at work, spoke next. You're fired. I can't employ someone who abandons his family. Jake begged and cried, but I didn't care anymore. He lost everything, his wife, his job, and his home. Now, Anna and I live peacefully. My family supports us, and Anna is happy again. I will never let anyone hurt my daughter again. I was filled with frustration and disbelief. If Jake had enough time to rush off to his mother's birthday party, then surely, he could have spared a few minutes to drop Anna off at her piano class first. A birthday celebration didn't have a strict schedule. It wasn't something that would disappear if he arrived a little later. But instead, he looked at me with irritation. I want to be the first to wish my mom a happy birthday. Besides, I didn't buy my car to drive someone else's kid around, he said coldly. His words cut deep. Someone else's kid. I couldn't believe what I had just heard. When we got married, he had made promises. He had vowed to be a father to Anna. He had assured me that he would love her as his own. But now, the moment it became inconvenient for him, he showed his true feelings. To him, Anna was not his child. She was just an outsider in his life, a burden he had no interest in carrying. My anger flared, and we began to argue. I couldn't hold back my disappointment and rage at how little he cared for his own stepdaughter. The tension between us grew thicker by the second, but before the argument could escalate further, Anna stepped in. Mom, it's okay, she said softly, looking up at me with sad yet understanding eyes. I'll run there, please don't fight with Dad. Her words stunned me. Anna was only 7, she should never have to feel responsible for keeping the peace in our home. She should never have to put herself in danger just to avoid an argument between adults. I felt a sharp pain in my chest, a deep sorrow mixed with guilt. My little girl was being forced to grow up too fast because of our troubled home life. Jake scoffed and turned away, showing no sign of guilt or concern. He simply walked out the door, leaving Anna and me alone. Then, my phone rang. I picked it up, my hands still shaking from our argument. The voice on the other end was urgent. Is this Isabella? This is the police. Your daughter has been in an accident. You need to come immediately. My heart stopped. My mind went blank for a second, unable to process what I had just heard. But then, everything clicked at once, and sheer panic set in. Without wasting another second, I grabbed my coat and rushed out the door. My legs felt weak, but I forced myself to run as fast as I could. When I arrived, I saw the flashing lights of the ambulance. My daughter was being placed onto a stretcher. Her face was pale, she was barely conscious. Anna, stay with me, please, don't leave me, I cried, grabbing her tiny hand. She didn't respond. My whole body trembled. My ex-husband had died in a car accident, and now, my daughter was lying here, injured, fighting for her life. It felt like I was reliving the same nightmare all over again. Tears blurred my vision, but I quickly wiped them away. I had to be strong for Anna. I got into the ambulance with her, refusing to let go of her hand. My fingers were cold with fear. my heart pounding so loudly it felt like it would burst. As soon as we arrived at the hospital, the doctors took her away for emergency treatment. I frantically called Jake. No answer. I called again, and again, and again. Finally, he picked up, sounding irritated. What? Why are you calling me so much? It's annoying. I didn't care about his annoyance. Anna was in an accident. She's in the hospital. Please, come quickly, I begged. His response chilled me to my core. Are you kidding me? You're calling me for that? Don't waste my time. I was stunned. How can you say that? She's in danger. So what? I'm at my mom's birthday party. I'm about to give her presents. I don't care about someone else's kid. Handle it yourself. Then he hung up. The phone slipped from my hand. I felt like all the air had been knocked out of me. How could he be so heartless? How could he turn his back on us like this? Suddenly, I felt a firm hand on my shoulder. I looked up and saw my brother. My entire family was there, their expressions filled with fury. Then I realized, I had put the call on speaker. They had heard everything. My parents were shaking with rage. My brother clenched his fists so tightly his knuckles turned white. I couldn't hide the truth any longer. I told them everything, everything Jake had done, everything he had failed to do, how he treated me, how he treated Anna, every ugly detail. You need to divorce him, my brother said, his voice firm and unwavering. I nodded. That was exactly what I planned to do. Thankfully, after intensive treatment, Anna pulled through. She woke up and was able to speak again. The relief that flooded me was indescribable. My entire family sighed in relief as well. Seeing her safe and smiling again filled my heart with gratitude. The next day, Jake came home in a cheerful mood, humming a tune, but as soon as he stepped inside and saw my family waiting for him, his face went pale. Welcome back, I said coldly. Did you enjoy your mom's birthday party? Yeah, it was fine, he muttered, suddenly uneasy. I didn't waste time. I placed a stack of papers in front of him. We're getting a divorce. Sign these. The lawyers will handle everything. Jake's face turned white. Before he could speak, my brother, who happened to be his boss at work, stepped forward. Jake, I trusted you to take care of my sister, he said, his voice filled with disappointment, but you've been nothing but a failure. Jake started sweating. My brother had been the one supporting his career. Without him, his job would be at risk. Then there was the house. We lived in a home my parents had given me. Jake had no claim to it. Once the divorce was finalized, he would have nowhere to go. Panic set in. He suddenly dropped to his knees and begged, Isabella, I'm sorry, I was selfish. I'll change, please, don't leave me. But I felt nothing but disgust. You never cared about me or Anna. You only care about yourself, and now, you're only begging because you're scared of losing everything. Get out. Jake sobbed, but I had made up my mind. My family stood beside me, their expressions hard and unforgiving. After the divorce, he lost his job. People at work found out about his actions and looked down on him. Unable to handle the shame, he quit. Now, Anna and I live a peaceful life. My family continues to support us, and Anna smiles more than ever. I will keep working hard to make sure my daughter is happy, no matter what. I will never let her suffer again.